We have our first Big Sky Conference matchup when Portland State Vikings head here to Ogden to face the Weber State Wildcats this weekend. A lot of people interested in the fact that we have a conference matchup week 2. Dan Satter, Deputy Commissioner of the Big Sky, is here with me to shed some light on how we come up with the Big Sky schedules. Dan, how did this matchup happen so early in the season?
Well, Meg, it was not originally in the plan. And the way this really came about was as Weber State and Portland State were finalizing their non-conference schedules. It essentially created a domino effect where sliding this game up from where it was in conference play allowed them some more flexibility in what they wanted to accomplish with their non-conference opponent.
What are the parameters that go into creating each schedule?
This time around, when we developed these schedules a few years ago, there were 6 criteria that our members wanted. The first being that one of your first 2 conference games will be at home. On the back end, one of your last 2 conference games will be at home. We also, of course, incorporate in our rivalries, and that being the last week of play. So that automatically gets slotted in. Of course, they alternate where they're playing each season. And then a couple of the other criteria came from the coaches, actually. And one of the most important that they wanted to ensure happened was that no team was playing more than 3 games against a conference opponent coming off their open week. And we have some, other criteria too of working in annual opponents for our teams, as well as giving our schools the option to request one weekend where they could either ask to be home or not home. And the reason I say not home instead of away is if they're saying they don't want to be home, we could either put them in a road game or we could give them that open week.
How do you decide the 2 annual opponents for each team?
The way this played out for us was we went to each athletic director before we started this process and we said, okay, rank in order the 4 schools you would like to play annually. We will give you at least one of those as your 2 annual opponents.
There are 12 schools in the Big Sky for football. Obviously, each team does not play every Big Sky opponent. How frequently will teams face all of the Big Sky schools?
We're doing a 6-year schedule, but it's really 2 3-year blocks if you look at it. And within each 3-year block, and we're just concluding the first 3-year block here in 24, so the 22, 23, and 24 schedules, within those 3 years, every school played every other school at least twice, once at home and once away.
Dan, the Big Sky Conference schedule is set through 2027. When will we start working on the next rollout?
I'd be lying if I said I hadn't already started thinking about it, but fortunately we do have a little bit of runway here with 3 years. So I would imagine after the 25 season, we would begin engaging our membership in discussions about the parameters again, because we obviously want to start with those, know what we're working with, and then we start building things out accordingly.